upper Midwest here, Minnesota, North, South Dakota, wherever, or Chicago. It's not that uncomfortable to sit in the rain, is it?
Like you said, it's underneath the roof.
Well, the Twins are taking the field. We're about ready for the first pitch here, and it will be roughly an hour and a half after the scheduled first pitch. Fourth season as Cubs manager, and they have gone through a bit of a rebuild, and they think they're on the cusp of getting over and staying over the 500 mark for a good long while. We'll see how they fare against Joe Ryan and the Menards batting order for the Cubs has a different look than it did last night. Nick Madrigal leading things off, then Dansby Swanson, Ian Happ, Cody Bellinger, Seiyu Suzuki, and then Christopher Morel, Matt Mervis, Eric Hosmer, and Tucker Barnhart.
Your home furniture starting pitcher stats. It'll be co-ace Joe Ryan on the mound, who's been very good this season. Ranks among the American League leaders in a lot of categories. Unfortunately took the loss his last time out. Only gave up 2 runs in that outing, but that'll tell you how much the Twins offense has been struggling as well. And that 4-seam fastball, as effective as any pitch that any pitcher throws across the game of baseball. The velocity will not light up the radar gun, but the pitch will still get hitters to swing and miss. Will still get them out, and he will use it, and everything else plays off of it. But it'll be interesting to see how this Cubs line up with the damage they did on the breaking and the off-speed stuff in last night's ball game. 9 of their 11 hits. What's their approach going to be today off of Joe Ryan? Are they going to be able to adapt to that high fastball, to the 4-seam fastball, and is he going to mix in some more off-speed off of that?
The Twins out on the field with a different look as well. Willie Castro is in left, Nick Gordon in center. Trevor Larnach called up. Max Kepler put on the injured list today. And the infield of Farmer, Correa, Polanco, and Gallo with Ryan Jeffers behind the plate. Yeah, it's been feast or famine for Joe Ryan on the mound in April. A lot of run support. Jumped out to a 5-0 start, and he could very easily be 7-0, but the bats in the month of May haven't been producing much, and particularly when Ryan's been out there. Given up just 2 runs in 12 innings in his 2 starts, but doesn't have a win. In fact, he's got a loss. And the first pitch strike. Madrigal, Swanson, and Happ in Chicago's first inning. Strike 2.
Madrigal didn't like that one, but if Joe Ryan's getting that pitch, should be a good day to be a pitcher.
On the ground weakly to Correa. 1 down. And that'll bring up Swanson. Cubs with a 500 record, 19-19. The Twins a few ticks above the 500 mark. But the Cubs actually have a better run differential. Not that that's an ideal stat to begin with, but a better run differential by quite a margin than the Twins do. The Twins have scored 20 more than they've given up, and the Cubs have scored 52 more than they have given up, but yet they're at sea level. 1 hop, and Farmer has it. 2 quick outs. And that'll bring up Happ. So yeah, they've scored a lot more runs than they have allowed, second best in the National League, but they are also 2-8 in 1-run games, which helps explain the 500 overall record. Big swing and a miss, strike 1.
It seems like the Twins are 20-18 in 1-run games.
It seems that way.
It's crazy. That number can get skewed a little bit. You have a few great days offensively where you pitch at the same time, and
even the scores that have a little gap between the winner and the loser, like last night, they've all been decided late, it seems like, in the last few innings. 2 strikes to Happ. All back. 2 losses in this homestand. The other one a 6-1 loss to San Diego, and that one too kind of fell apart on the Twins in the late innings. Ryan thought he had it in his glove, and instead it's picked up by Jeffers halfway between the mound and the third baseline. Happ reaching again. That's now 20 straight games that he's reached base, and it is a base hit with 2 down in the first. It's got to be a horrible feeling. You think you got it in your glove, and you're taking a few steps to first for the underhanded flip, and the ball's not there.
I guess you'd call that an empty feeling.
Yeah, you would.
We had a lot of time here in the rain delay.
Yeah. Here's Cody Bellinger. And another first pitch strike. 9 pitches, 9 strikes. And now 1-1. And we shouldn't be surprised, because in his last start against Cleveland, Ryan threw 100 pitches, 77 for strikes. Now, what's his strike percentage in Canadian high school math?
Well, is that with the conversion rate or not? I think it's still 77.
Okay.
That'll just tell you the confidence he has, though, in his stuff. That he's no fear of the strike zone, no fear of contact.
2-2.
I mean, here's a guy who won an MVP and a Rookie of the Year. He's off to a good start. 2-1 count. Seems like it's an off-speed count now across the game. What's Joe Ryan do? Here's a fastball. See if you can hit it.
Foul tip. Jeffers couldn't quite hang on. Cubs like to run 35 for 47 in stolen base attempts, nearly a stolen base per game. And there's strike 3. A really good inning for Ryan. Gives up a infield hit, but a pretty quick scoreless top of the first. I don't even know, frankly, interleague play. Both leagues play by the same rules now. We'll be playing everybody. I'm not sure how much of a valid stat that is anymore, what the record is against interleague opponents. The Menards batting order has Gallo in the leadoff spot for the first time in his career, then Kirilloff, Correa, Polanco, Larnach, Gordon, Farmer, Castro, and Jeffers. Yeah, first time Joey Gallo in the major leagues has ever hit leadoff.
Surprising. He's, for a big guy, he actually runs really well. On base machine.
Byron Buxton's been struggling, an 0 for 25 streak coming into the game today, not in the starting lineup. And it has been a rare day off. He may come in later in the ball game to pinch hit. Fouled away. But the goal, of course, for Buxton was to get him on the field and get him 500 plate appearances. Right now, he's on a pace for 631 plate appearances. Maybe a full day off today and fresh start tomorrow in the series finale. Gallo skies one very high, very deep to right center field, but on the edge of the track, caught by Suzuki. That had a lot of hang time.
Yeah, it was almost 110 miles an hour off the bat, but the launch angle closer to 46 degrees, and with the wind blowing in, if the wind's blowing the other way, you get some help, but stays in the ballpark. And here's your Home Furniture starting pitcher stats. It'll be Hayden Wesneski, making his 8th start of the year. The best pitch for him has been that sweeper. He'll throw it both to righties and lefties. He'll steal a strike with it just like that. A lot of backdoor to the left-handed hitters. It'll be a swing and miss pitch to the righties. Then he'll use the sinker and the four seam for effect. Occasional cutter. Change ups to the lefties.
Hit hard to left field. Happ is going back. He's at the wall. Gone, a home run. Kirilloff's first of the year to the opposite field.
That sounded good coming off the bat. Gallo hit his close to 110 miles an hour. Just hit it a little too high. This one not located anywhere near where he wanted to. Trying to come up under Kirilloff's hands, and We've seen him when he's right, he is driving the ball to that part of the ballpark, and he's got carry and strength that very few hitters have.
And now Correa in there, strike one. Kirilloff gets to wear the fishing vest on the fishing opener. Correa takes a ball, 1-1. Not the best weather for the fishing opener this year, but if you were out in the boat early, now an issue with the home plate umpire Emil Jimenez. Maybe just a new baseball. Don't see any signal of any pitch clock violation. 1-1 to Correa. 1-2. So we hope the morning fishing was good and there was enough for a nice shore lunch today. One and two to Carlos Correa. 2-2. Twins team batting average keeps going down, starting the game at .218. And now 3-2. The lowest team batting average in Twins history, 1968. The year of the pitcher in both leagues, and the Twins hit just .237. And Correa strikes out for out number 2. They'll bring up Polanco.
Well, you expect this team, especially with how many veterans you have in the lineup, at some point going to get hot and go on a run. You just hope that in the years that seem like where you struggle to, you kind of tread water, you sit around 500, you pitch well and you don't hit, and it seems like the days you hit, you score 7, you give up 8. That hasn't been the case so far this year. They've pitched, occasionally they've hit, but the pitching has been consistent, remarkably consistent all year, especially the starting pitching, giving you a chance pretty much every game to win. So you hope that continues once the bats come alive and once the veterans start to do and produce the way you expect them to, that the pitching is going to continue to do what it's doing. And that's why I think you have confidence, you have faith in this team that they're a playoff team.
Rocco Baldelli after the game last night bemoaned the fact that there have been too many games where the Twins have scored early as they did yesterday, then didn't create separation, meaning distance between where the Twins were on the scoreboard and the team that they're playing. 0-2. But there's another kind of separation. The Twins have kind of squandered that opportunity too. And hey, it's May. Standings don't count right now that much. But Twins have had a great opportunity. Last night, everybody in the AL Central lost. The Twins could have picked up a game on everybody. But they haven't been able to separate themselves from the other 4 teams all playing below 500. Kirilloff with a home run to put the Twins up early.
We talk a lot about Joe Ryan and his fastball. It's really hard to put it into context how good that fastball has been. But one thing you can look at, swinging strike rate. Joe Ryan, of all starting pitchers, leads Major League Baseball in swinging strike rate. Some of the other names on that list, Spencer Strider, Hunter Green, guys that get upwards of 100 miles an hour. And Joe Ryan, he'll be anywhere from 90 to 94. So it's a combination of his delivery, the deception he has, some pretty good velocity, good carry out of that arm slot. I think his command is underrated. And in that first inning, guys, 7 swings on that fastball, 3 swing and misses. So 43% in that first inning, including a strikeout of Cody Bellinger. So good sign early from Joe Ryan.
Hey, Glenn, if you can hang with us.
I can.
Okay, a little pop-up short center. Hustling in is Gordon. And can't get there. Another pop fly single. And now trying for second base. Suzuki will get there. Polanco went out. And Gordon came in. And the ball landed right in front of him for a leadoff double.
A good effort here. Saw almost identical play last night's ball game. Polanco opens up, tries to get a good jump on it, and figures it's an easier play for Gordon coming in. He actually had that hit off the heel of his glove. Covered a little more ground maybe than he was anticipating. But it's a great effort, just not able to come up with it. Suzuki wisely seeing the ball roll away, cruises into second base.
Christopher Morel, 6 for 13 so far. Glenn, we're probably as guilty of it as anybody. We show the velocity readings and we see Ryan at 92, 93, and then we show other pitchers 97, 98. But I think what you're suggesting is Ryan's 92. Well, it's been proven so far this year that 92 is more effective than other pitchers 97.
Yeah, it is, and that's why I said, I mean, his delivery, and we've made a lot of his delivery, that kind of low arm slot where he pushes the ball. He doesn't get as much vertical movement as you would think for a guy that gets as many swing and misses, but I really think it boils down to the command. He rarely misses his spot when he's trying to throw that, and like that fastball right there, if he does miss, it's going to be out of the zone. It's not going to be an area that's going to get hurt, but just exceptional command. The more I've watched him, the more I've been impressed by how well he moves the fastball around the zone.
1-2 to Morel. And the ability to get a strikeout when you need it. For instance, after a cheap leadoff double. It's just invaluable to have in your back pocket. One away, and now Mervis.
But the box we had up on the previous shot, that thing split that line in half at the top of the zone. I mean, just perfectly located, like Glenn was talking about. His command is definitely underrated. He very rarely misses, and when he does, okay, here's my spot and here's my miss. Very rarely does it leak over the heart of the plate. Very rarely is it. Oh. Very rarely do you see the catcher set up in and he misses away, or does he set up away and he misses the entire plate in.
Missed with the first pitch, back on the zone with pitch number 2. And now 1-2.
I think the fact that he has a reputation of having a good fastball, that he's able to establish it. These hitters go up there and see it. The ones who haven't faced him live in game action, you look at the video, and then all of a sudden you go out there, and then the confidence he's shown, and then it continues to show in that split. Such a good combination.
Straight back.
But even that ball's just above the belt. Fouls it straight back because it's got that life. It just jumps on those hitters. And he was out front of the split the previous pitch. You have to respect both of those because he can throw them in the zone. He'll mix in that sweeper as well. Kind of that back and forth, up and down, off balance.
Strikeout number 2 of the inning. Last 3 outs have come on strikeouts, and Suzuki's still standing at second base. The MLB Ballpark app will complete your next visit to Target Field. You can buy and manage game tickets, redeem offers, access exclusive content, much more. Download the MLB Ballpark app today. Eric Hosmer, Cubs designated hitter. Missing inside, ball 1. Big swing and a miss.
Hosmer getting the start, 1 for 2 in his career off Joe Ryan with a home run. One up there looked like that's exactly what he was trying to do on that swing.
Two and 1. We saw it last night from Sonny Gray. Ryan, that's kind of the way he goes about things anyway, but the old style pitching theory, let's establish the fastball early and then go from there.
Yeah, today's game, where we showed on the graphic, game open, Twins as a pitching staff throw less than 50% fastball. So if you're going to force hitters to hit your pitch, you have to establish that fastball.
And a long way to right, but foul. Still 2-2.
The obvious pitch is to throw is the splitter, but as a hitter, you hit a ball like that, sometimes you think there's no way he's going to throw me that again. And come back in, locate it well up under his hands, you can get him.
Chip shot. And Farmer ends it. Great job by Ryan. Yeah, you like to have 1, 2, 3 innings, but did a great job there pitching around the leadoff double, and it's still 1-0. Out on open water, and I haven't sold you the least bit on that, have I?
No.
Trevor Larnach will lead things off. Strike one.
Oh, Larnach recalled. Kirilloff put on the injured list. And
Kepler.
or sorry, Kepler. Yeah, it'd be hard. Somehow Kirilloff hit a home run in his first at bat.
You know, we've heard about these guys for a long time, but it seems like we've never or rarely seen them in the lineup together. One's been hurt, the other's been hurt. One's been in AAA, the other's been here at the big league level. Now they're both on the roster. And Larnach taps it foul 1 and 2.
Yeah, Rocco said we weren't sure how long Kepler was going to be down, so facing right-handed starters for the next 5 games. So we get Kershaw game 2 in LA, but he wanted some left-handed bats. Twins are left-handed heavy in their lineup today.
And Larnach strikes out, 1 away, 3 straight strikeouts now for Wesneski. That'll bring up Nick Gordon.
And the luxury of having St. Paul as close as any AAA team is to their big league team. St. Paul, I believe, is supposed to be playing at 2 o'clock today. Get the call when you're going in. Grab your bag. You're headed up the street.
That's to left. Happ comes in to catch the drive off the bat of Gordon. I walked in this morning with Cole Sands. He's here as well. Derek Rodriguez option to AAA. Cole Sands now part of the Twins bullpen again. 2 down. That'll bring up Kyle Farmer.
Well, Farmer's looked good since he's come back. It's been a good sign that doesn't look like he has any fear in the batter's box. He's going up there. He's got a home run, hit another ball to the warning track his first game back.
You know who has more fear than Kyle does? Viewers. Last night I'm watching him come home and it looked like he was going to get tagged in the mouth at home plate, and he didn't, thankfully. Did score a run. And a liner to the shortstop. And a 1-2-3 second for Hayden Wesneski.
Saw the swing and miss by Bellinger. That pitch not exactly where he wanted it to, but still that effectiveness and that 94, 95 to that hitter when he gets it up in that upper range of his velocity just jumps on you. It's almost like 97, 98. It's the life that it has, the release, the arm slot, everything he does. Everything plays off of his fastball, and he's one of the best in baseball with it.
Popped up over near the tarp. And no play for Farmer. This is unfair of you because you've never stood in there against Joe Ryan. But who that you faced from what you've seen up here reminds you of Joe Ryan?
Well, maybe not even necessarily faced, but teammate Scott Baker was one of the first guys who we saw would pitch. Now, today's players don't like to hear this, but his 92 would be 95 today, just where they measure the velocity. Now it's out of the hand. It used to be a few feet in front of the mound, and 20 plus years it was in front of home plate. So the velocity, a 92 at the beginning of my career would be now a 95 on the radar gun. But so very similar velocities.
Stroke to right, and on one hop to Larnach, a leadoff single. 3rd hit, first time through the order for the Cubs, and this is the only one that was hit sharply.
So I think we remember we'd be watching and ask Joe, behind the plate catching him, how are they missing that? What's he got? And he said, late, we call it late life. The ball appears to jump when it hits that transition between the grass and the dirt in front of the mound. And look at this one. This one didn't get up as high as he would have liked. Give Barnhart credit. Doing his homework, paying attention to what's going on, went up and got on top of it.
Falling back. And those of us who are late in life are getting to know what late life means when it comes to throwing a baseball. The little jump on the end of it, right?
Yeah, a little. It's like it catches another gear. So all of a sudden, you go to swing and your eyes are telling you one thing, and whether it's a high spin rate, a deceptive release point, or someone like Bailey Ober, who's got a little more extension than most, that releases the ball closer to home plate.
1 strike to Madrigal, and now a ball.
And then I remember, watching Bake pitch for us for so many years, and then faced him towards the end of both of our times, and struck me out on that belt high fastball that I had seen so many times, and watch hitters shake their head going back to the dugout. It's an effective pitch if you use the deception.
And that's through the hole, a base hit, and a pair of hits to start the Cub 3rd inning. I think the term they used to use was someone was sneaky fast. Is that the same thing?
Yeah, or we'd say, it gets on you. There's all kinds of different ways, but now you say, oh, he's a high spin guy. Now you understand what that means.
Right, right.
Basically just a different way of saying the same thing 10 or 15 years later.
Here's Swanson, bounced to 3rd his first time up, and Ryan hoping to get a ground ball hit at somebody again, get at least 1, maybe 2. And there's a first pitch strike again. I used to say that the fastballs of Nolan Ryan and Sandy Koufax, his statue, as they went by you into the catcher's mitt. And now inside 1-1, and I think what that meant was they had a lot of late life on their fastball, and a lot of early life too.
Yeah, Nolan Ryan's is a whole other level.
1-1 to Swanson. And now 1-2. 3 strikeouts for Ryan, and strikeouts 2 and 3 came at a good time after Suzuki's leadoff double.
It's going to be interesting. Swanson uses his timeout, 3 straight splits. Now do you elevate the fastball, go for a strikeout? You've had him out front, a little bit fooled with that split. What do you go back to here?
Off the end of the bat, another short pop-up. This time Gordon coming in. That's as good as a strikeout for out number 1.
Yeah, a little broken bat right there.
And a quick message now from Arby's.
Are Arby's sliders big snacks or little meals? Yes!
With Glenn Perkins and Justin Morneau, Dick Bramer here. Twins trying to win this series against the Cubs. They got to win today and tomorrow afternoon before they head out on what looks to be a pretty tough road trip. Both the Dodgers and the Angels foul back.
Well, there's so much to be made about today, hitters relaying, guys from second base relaying location or signs, and we'll take a look at something that Jeffers does when we get a chance here, especially a guy like Joe Ryan who throws a lot of high fastballs.
One and one.
So one way you can do it is by giving the location away. Well, Jeffers giving the high location. If the hitter at second's relaying this, saying, okay, it's going to be a fastball. Well, they actually end up throwing a split on this pitch. So interesting to hear Joe Ryan, his take, or Glenn Perkins' take on this of, did you actually look at the glove? Is he looking at the glove? Even though he threw a split there as a pitch he wants down, you're trying not to give anything away. So Jeffers is kind of giving the same sign, whether it's the fastball or the split. Even though he's setting up early, he's not really giving them anything. And it's just interesting to watch, because teams do that. They'll look at the catcher to see if they can pick something up. A lot of times before the one knee down, you'd watch catchers set up as a base runner, as a base coach, and they set up a little bit higher, anticipating a breaking ball in the dirt. So a fastball guy settles in, they see it's going to be in a certain location, and then a breaking ball, you maybe sometimes get a little bit wider. Rear end gets a little bit higher in the air, saying, all right, if he throws this in the dirt, I got to block it. I got to get myself in a better position. So a lot of times it's not the pitchers that you worry about tipping, it's also the catcher. So Jeffers trying to counter that with where he's given that sign with his glove.
Another key strikeout. Strikeout at a good time for out number 2.
Well, Perk, was that something you looked at? Was the catcher's glove, or what was your target? Is it different for every pitcher?
Yeah, Maury, I would say that if I'm trying to throw a ball down in the zone, that I would not want a high target. I think that would be difficult. I get why they're doing it, but for Joe to want to throw that splitty down in the zone, start that at the bottom, and maybe get it to drop out with 2 strikes, having that high target would be pretty difficult for me. I think it's easier if you're trying to throw a pitch maybe up in the zone to a low target, a little bit easier to execute. I'd want to use that glove as my target.
So do you think maybe his bottom of Jeffers' chest protector or his belt or something, if he's going to throw that split and he's completely ignored that glove?
Yeah, I'm sure that's something they talked about earlier, that, hey, if you have a guy on second base and you want to throw that splitty, we need to throw him off the scent, if you will. Maybe, yeah, look at that left knee.
Popped up. Farmer will chase it near the tarp. No play.
They just have to set up some sort of an auxiliary target, and so I'm sure that's something that they communicate.
You know, it's interesting. Last year in spring training, I asked Joe, and we were talking about a different subject matter, but it came around to when he picks up the target. And he said, no, I pick it up very late. And, you know, it used to be catchers would set up and give their pitchers a target. Talking with Jim Deshaies, who's doing some analysis work for the Cub Network, and he said, yeah, he wanted the catcher to give away his target very early on. Deep to right field. And Larnach is there for the catch on the warning track. Another great job by Ryan, pitching out of trouble. For tickets and more, visit twins.com/CSBSJU. Willie Castro to lead off the Twins third. And strike one. Castro, Jeffers, and Gallo in the Twins third. Check swing, strike two. Emil Jimenez behind the plate. This is the first time I've written his name down on my score sheet. So I don't know, frankly, whether he's one of the 10 new umpires this year or just a fill-in umpire.
Well, you talked about the challenge system. When you mentioned that the other day, I thought how much more challenging it is to come up here for the fill-in umpires okay, half the series, half of the 6-game series, you're using an electronic zone. They're kind of just raising their arm when it beeps in their ear, and then the other ones they're calling it, but it's getting challenged.
That's up the line. Foul.
It'll be interesting to see how effective those guys when they come up, if they're not getting the same amount of reps in the minor leagues.
I hadn't thought about that because umpires, like hitters, need to have a sharp eye to do their job well. And
yeah, it's they're down there getting work just like the players are in AA and AAA. You know, continuing to hone their craft and work at it. They get a little more plates. There's only usually 3-man rotation in the minor leagues, and lower levels usually 2. So you get a lot of times behind the plate.
Up and away now, 1-2.
But if you have the machine calling the pitches for you, I wonder if you're hurting the development or not. I wonder if.
Well, that's why I just think it's inevitable. It's going to happen here. They're going to have it up here. In what form, I don't know. Golfed into the right field corner, and a fair ball. Castro can run. Take 2. They're small. Take 3. Oh, he'll take 2 with the throw spiked into the turf. Castro thought about it, and you know what, kids, that's what you do. You run hard. If you think you've got a double, run hard to second, and then make the decision that that's enough.
Well, he played a lot of games in Detroit, and it's a little deeper in that part of the ballpark where he used to play his home game. So here, it's hard to hit triples in this ballpark, especially in that corner. That wall, the ball tends to kick. But I love, as you said, he was thinking 3 all the way. He picks up Tommy Watkins, and Tommy's over there going, please don't keep going, because that ball was about 10 feet behind him by the time he made that turnaround second.
Now Jeffers, inside ball 1.
Swanson lucky receiver was in the vicinity. No 15-yard penalty there for intentional grounding.
Hey, I saw Jock Jones do that a couple of times from the outfield. So
we've all done it. It's a helpless feeling. You go to throw it, you realize you don't have to, and you spike it in front of you.
Sweeps in for a strike. 1-1.
That is. See if he goes to that more. Now he's got a runner in scoring position. He's thrown 4 first pitch strikes with it coming into this inning. It's a swing and miss pitch to righties. Is Jeffers up there looking for it? Is he going to give him something to hit here?
Nice stop by Barnhart. Wisniewski in the same situation here in the third inning that Ryan was in the second. Got a leadoff double. In Ryan's case, he was able to pick up a couple of strikeouts and a pop up to get out of the inning. We'll see if Jeffers, if he makes it out, whether he can at least advance the runner 90 feet. 2-1. 3-1. Gallo on deck. And a 5-pitch walk put runners in first and second. So here we are. This is exactly the situation Rocco Baldelli was talking about after the game. And it's cost the Twins a number of losses this year. You're leading 1-0, and you've got a chance here now to separate yourself from the Cubs.
And you're a team that also plays for the 3-run homer, and you got the top part of the lineup up there. You got Gallo hit at 109 his first time up, just a little too high, and then you got Kirilloff on deck, who hit a home run.
Half swing and a strike. When I got the lineup, I remarked to you, Joey Gallo leading off. That might have been Joey's reaction too, but then you look at his on-base percentage at .330, and that's among the team's best. 1-1.
You're looking for some type of spark, some type of, get this lineup going. You're looking for something, and a guy who can, make a difference, and a guy who's also probably going to get 3 at-bats off of a right-handed starter. You give Gallo 3 chances off anybody, there's a chance one of those balls ends up in the seats.
Like that one. Wow. And the Twins get some separation here in the 3rd inning.
You put him in the leadoff spot, hope he comes up with somebody on base, and hit this one just as hard as the first one, just had 10 degrees less of launch and ended up going about 40 feet further. This was a big swing right there, and one that he's been waiting for a few days. Foot's down right in that zone where he does damage, and he knew it immediately. Wisniewski knew it immediately. He put his head down as soon as Gallo made contact.
His first home run since April 26th against the Yankees. And it's 4-0. I've seen balls hit that far, and I've seen balls hit that high. I don't think I've ever seen a ball hit that high and that far.
The ball just never came down. I mean, he's got 8 power. I mean, he's got just an ability that so few people on this earth have. And when he connects on one, it's unbelievable.
Kirilloff homered to left field his first time up. There's the Kirilloff home run, StatCast 3D powered by Google Cloud. Doesn't look like much when Gallo hits one almost onto Hennepin Avenue. But it counted every bit as much. Now hit to center and hit well. Bellinger's back to the wall, gone. He's got another one. Tremendous power by Alex Kirilloff. One to left and now one to center.
Kirilloff in the DH spot for Byron Buxton today, and apparently he likes it. He gets to put on that bishop vest again. This ball straight away center. We said when he's right, it's almost like a right-handed hitter up there with his power zone of from right center field all the way to the left field line. He just lets that ball travel so well. And that just kept carrying on Bellinger. He thought he had a beat on it, but that ball just kept going. And I think we've seen him, when you miss time as a player and the game is taken away and you're not sure when you're going to make it back. He's been through a couple of tough years with injuries. We saw him smiling on the field after that walk-off hit the other night. Saw him smiling right there after that home run. I feel like he's just finding a way to maybe enjoy it a little bit more. And obviously when you hit a ball in the seats and you hit your second one of the game and your second at bat, that should bring a smile to your face. But it's good to see him looking like he's enjoying himself.
Tommy Hotovy made his quick trip to the mound. Still nobody out here in the 3rd. Ball 1 to Correa. And now ball 2.
It's okay to smile. Wish somebody would have told me that early in my career.
and a miss. Correa struck out swinging his first time up. Three and one. And now 3-2. Correa is called out on strikes, a pitch clock violation by the batter. It happened last night to Willie Castro. And Correa has struck out with a pitch clock violation. And that'll bring up Polanco. Soft liner caught by Madrigal, 2 away. So somebody's shaking your head, and I'm guessing it might be because that would be, you would not be happy with,
because whatever's going to come out of my mouth will get me in trouble. So
regarding the rule.
I've learned in my 41 years on this planet, sometimes it's better to say nothing.
Yeah.
It's just so frustrating. That is not what people bought a ticket to see. I get it, the pace is increased, but
is it any comfort for you to know that the Twins are playing the fastest games in Major League Baseball now? Time of game has been trimmed roughly a half an hour, and the Twins have played the most rapid games in the major leagues. And Larnach will sacrifice a bat for a base hit to left.
Yeah, all the off-speed stuff, his first at bat here, it looked like he was trying to stay on something slow. He struck out on that cutter above the zone. Here a fastball got in on him, but he's strong enough to just muscle it over left side of the infield. Ball right down by the label. Right over his old buddy from school.
Yeah, went to school together at Oregon State, right?
Yeah, won a national championship there together.
Beat the Gophers in the semifinal game, I believe, quarterfinal game. Popped up foul, out of play.
Yeah, I just don't think that's in the spirit of the rule. I mean, there has to be some leeway. If the guy's in the box and he's kind of getting ready, I understand there has to be some end point. You can't force the pitcher to wait till 3 seconds till the hitter's looking. It's to stop injury so the pitcher's not throwing the ball when the hitter's not looking at the pitcher. To watch a guy strike out without a pitch being thrown is so frustrating for me.
Back-to-back games. This one lifted to left. That's got a little carry to it too, but Happ still in the grass ends the inning. But a good inning for the Twins. 3 extra base hits, a couple of home runs, and a 5-0 lead. All right, and Suzuki will lead things off. So watching Gallo's home run, I'm thinking, you know, out there somewhere in the upper deck in right field is a daughter and a father coming to a ball game, and what they want more than anything else is to leave home with a baseball. And they're sitting up there, and the kid's
Greg,
probably wondering, we couldn't get better seats than this. I want to get a baseball. And then Gallo plops one in their lap.
Not too often you sit up in that section, you got a chance to get a home run ball hit up to you. Maybe the outfielders, after they get done warming up, will throw it up there.
Right. 1-2 to Suzuki. Hit a pop fly double his first time up. And Ryan finds himself now with some early run support, which was a common occurrence in April, not in May. But again, how good was he in that second inning, pitching around that Texas League double that led off the inning. Now 3-2, and then the 2 singles that started the third.
First 3-ball count, that'll tell you how good he's been. He's just, anytime there's been trouble, he finds another level.
And he missed up and away. Now it's a leadoff walk that he'll try to work around.
Exactly how you draw it up after your team scores you 4 runs. See the shake of the head there, he knows it. I think what he wanted to do, guy in the box got some power. Big home run to right center field Last night's ball game looked like he was sitting slider for a couple of those at bats. Got one up in the zone, didn't miss it.
So as rare as Gallo's mammoth home run was a few moments ago, a right-hander to hit it where Morel did is even more rare. 1 strike. Two strikes. Jeffers with a look at first base. Fouled straight back. Cubs are playing here, obviously, and next year the Twins will be at Wrigley Field. Now, it's an historic ballpark. It has charm about it. I don't know whether you enjoyed playing there or not. We love going there. But this ballpark here draws raves from people.
San Diego people who hadn't been here.
Yep, and they got a nice ballpark too.
Yeah.
And the Cubs people who have never been here before that I've talked to just rave about what a gorgeous ballpark this is. Now a high fly to deep left field. Well, there's been a couple, including Bellinger's game-ending line drive in the 3rd inning, and now this one, that have not left the ballpark, which again underscores how impressive it's been what Kirilloff has done and what Gallo has done. The ball doesn't seem to be carrying that well here today.
Yeah, the flags going in from left, in from right, kind of almost straight in from center field. So it takes something a little extra to get it out of here today.
That foul. Did you enjoy playing at Wrigley Field?
The field, yes. The clubhouse, those old stadiums there, Fenway, just not the biggest in the league. But I appreciate the history of the game and something going up, watching on TV.
Scalded foul.
So you look at Wrigley now. More for me, Fenway was because of the American League. I was an American League guy. You know, my team was the Blue Jays growing up. Watched a ton of Blue Jays games, and then being in the East, so a lot. Didn't see Wrigley Field on TV too much, but yeah, the history and everything that means.
Chasing upstairs, and out number 2. Going to have fun this summer at the Sawney Foundation's free sports camps. Visit freeprocamps.com. The Sawney Foundation for ages 5 through 12, soccer, basketball, golf, pickleball, and more. Various Twin Cities locations. Go to freeprocamps.com. Now, I did not know this. I just associate pickleball with people who are older than 5 to 12.
Well, pickleball league, there's
for little kids. I didn't know there were such things. Hosmer.
You haven't had little kids for a while.
Pop straight up in the air. Not much room behind home plate, and not enough for this one. So does pickleball for kids, does that replace tennis, or?
I don't know.
Yeah,
less running.
Okay.
Yeah. Anything that gets him out moving around is good with me.
Yep, absolutely. Hosmer with a pop to third, his first time up. 1-2. "70 pitches for Ryan. 51 strikes, a strike percentage of 73. Nice play by Gallo, but across the line. Hanging tough. Right to Larnach. And again, the leadoff man reaches again, wins 3 home runs, 5 runs. And we'll see if they can add on here. With Kyle Farmer leading off the Twins 4th against Hayden Wesneski.
Farmer on that sweeper his first time out. Farmer just a little bit off the end. See if he's able to make the adjustment if he throws him that same pitch again within the strike zone.
And Farmer takes strike 2.
What's he do? He starts him off with 2 sinkers. 1 away, 1 in.
One and 2. Twins have not eased Farmer back into the mix. He came off his rehab assignment and he started every game. And a line out. Second time that he's lined out to the pull side. Lining out to Swanson his first time up.
Well, that was the sweeper. That did look like he made the adjustment. That ball 91 miles an hour off the bat, but once again settled in somebody's glove.
Biggest inning for the Twins in quite a while. The 4-run third started with a Willie Castro double into the right field corner. Missing ball 1.
A little 2-strike ability to make contact. Got himself a sweeper down in the zone. Just went down and got it.
And a foul. One and 1. Final game of the series tomorrow. We're pretty confident of a 1:10 first pitch tomorrow. No weather issues, we hope. If you're tuning in and wondering why there isn't a fishing show on or whatever Bally's would normally have on after a Twins game, we had a rain delay of about an hour and a half. And double clutch nearly cost Madrigal an out, but he's able to throw out Castro 2 away. And before Jeffers at bat, a message from Bad Boy Mowers.
The fields, front lawns, and backyards of America. Bad Boy.
Nice name for a mower company. When I was a kid, if I was a bad boy, I had to cut the grass. And Jeffers will go to first.
A walk and now a hit by pitch, and that brings Gallo up again, who's made solid contact so far in this game. A couple balls hit well over 100 miles an hour. One of them way up there above 240 Gordy section there, and then one that made its way to the warning track. Jeffers wore this one right off the tricep, as it always does. It missed the pad. So you tune into a game at 3:30 a year ago before the pitch clock, it still possibly could be in the 4th inning. But
Swing and a miss. Okay, so Gallo's got 18 runs batted in. This is the 40th game of the year. So you take the numbers and you multiply them times 4, and no, it's not like you driving in 130 in 2006 and Cuddyer driving in 109 that year. 1 strike. But you've got Correa with 18 runs batted in, Larnach with 19, and he's been gone for a while. So there is some balance in there, some threat of run production up and down the lineup. That big swing and a miss 1 and 2 that still gives a pitcher something to think about.
yeah, there's some depth there. There's some challenges for a pitcher to navigate. It's just getting more guys on base. That's been the issue, and consistency of Okay, well, we're only getting 4 hits. That means we need to be walking 6 or 7 times as a group.
Oh, wow. Jeffers just took off. Not even on first movement. He just took off. And Wisniewski had the presence of mind to turn around and look. And that will wrap up the. Been a few cycles already this year. Luis Arraez still this year only has 1 triple and 1 home run, but he picked a good night to do it. He also got a double and a single in that game.
I like those old Marlins unis.
Watched the Marlins last night. They brought up from Double-A Yuri Perez, 20-year-old, tall, power-throwing right-handed pitcher, and he looked like he may not go back to the minor leagues. I don't know what the Marlins pitching needs might be.
So the Marlins, you say? Seems like every 3 years they bring up a young kid that.
Alcantara, Fernandez, so on and so forth.
Go back to Dontrell. I mean, you go back as far.
Ooh, just missed low, 1 and 2. 6'9", 220 pounds, 99 miles per hour, above average slider, working on a changeup. And I'm watching this last night and I'm thinking, okay, if I'm the Marlins and I think this guy's going to make it this year, well then, yeah, maybe I'm more inclined to trade Pablo Lopez and get what they needed at the time, an on-base guy. And boy, so far that trade has worked out great for both teams.
Yeah, it's kind of what you hope when you make a trade, because you want to be able to make another one.
Into the net behind the Twins dugout. An entertaining strike 3 for Tucker Barnhart. 6th strikeout. And that'll get Madrigal to the plate. I guess it was just strike 2. I beg your pardon. I thought it was strike 3.
It would go down as, I believe, it was a foul ball.
Foul ball.
Got a piece of it. Got a piece of it on the way by, which is hard to do.
I was watching the bat.
Hard to do when you launch the bat.
I saw it disappear into Jeffers' mid. He didn't hang on, so the at bat's still very much alive. And now 2 and 2.
But to that point, I think if I'm going to make a trade with the Rays and whoever the first 3 players are they ask for, I'm going to go, okay, we're keeping those guys in our system forever. And it seems like all the veteran pieces they've traded off over the years, it seems like they typically get something back that ends up being a big part of their major league roster. Like I said, you want trades work out well for both sides. That's a good thing, I think.
And there's a called 3rd strike. Just took Ryan a few more pitches to dispatch Barnhart, 1 away.
Yeah, I wonder if he was looking off speed here, or with how many high fastballs Joe Ryan throws, you're telling yourself anything down, it's going to be below the zone. You just kind of gave up on it. That one started at the bottom and just stayed on plane. So you're saying, okay, 4-seam up. Don't want to chase that. If it's down, leave it down. And if you're thinking about that many things at once, it's hard to hit anyway.
Madrigal takes ball 1. When we go to St. Petersburg, by the way, in a few weeks, I'm going to drink as much water there as I can, because there must be something in the water. Right? It's amazing what they've done. Now, the Yankees beat them today, and they've actually lost back-to-back ball games. So they're 30 and 11.
Blew a 6-run lead in that ball game, I believe.
Yeah, in today's game, yes.
Yeah.
1 and 2 to Madrigal. And here's what I think will happen by the time the Twins get there. They will have completely figured out Jake Diekman, who was released when the Twins were in Chicago. And he'll go down there and they'll find something and get him back in the strike zone.
A month later, he's going to be closing games for him.
That's what they do. Week 2 hopper to second, and the second out. Dansby Swanson will hit with the bases empty. Now Ryan set down 5 men in a row, and this is the first inning since the first inning. where he's retired the leadoff batter, and then he followed up and got Madrigal too. Rays are going to have to deal though with the absence of Drew Rasmussen, who absolutely shut down the Yankees 2 days ago, and the next day they put him on the 60-day disabled list, injured list I should say. Flexor tendon strain, which doesn't sound good. One strike. I mean, how can you pitch that effectively?
I was thinking the same thing when I saw that. Didn't he just throw the ball really well? But
7 innings, 2 hits to the Yankees at Yankee Stadium on Thursday night.
Unfortunate for him.
Still waiting for Glasnow to come back. Oh, and 2 to Swanson. Ryan's 88th pitch coming. Got him. Good finish to his best inning, his first 1-2-3 inning, and it's still 5-0. Gallo and Kirilloff have already combined to hit 3 home runs today. Lifted foul. Gallo just missed a home run in the first inning and then absolutely smashed one into the upper deck in right field over the scoreboard with 2 men on base. Taken for ball 1. Fouled straight back, 1-2. Just about got one 2 games ago. Left no doubt on that one.
They went halfway up that stairway up there. As you said, you don't expect to come in the ballpark and see a foul ball land up there by you.
Just outside, and Wesneski thought he had it. Instead, it's 2-2.
Yeah, maybe Barnhart convinced him. He pulled that one back into the zone.
Dribbled to the right side. 3-1 in the play, 1 away. Kirilloff with a home run to left and a home run to center. His 3rd career multi-home run game. 382 to left, 422 to center. Now he's got a chance to get into the Twins record book. Just the 5th inning here. To the left field corner. In the ballpark, but another extra base hit. Automatic double. He's got 10 total bases. And we're just in the 5th inning.
He's finding the barrel. Ball perfectly located. Just inside that left field line, but said he clears that front side, then allows those hands to work, allows that barrel to work, and seems like he pulls it out of the catcher's glove. It's good to see him swinging the bat well. See if Correa can jump in on the fun now.
Big swing and a miss. 2 strikeouts for Correa, 1 swinging, and I put KU. Umpire called strike 3. I don't know how else to do it.
I'm not going to say anything. I said I've learned sometimes nothing is better than saying the wrong thing.
And now 0-2.
Pitcher gets credit for it, even though he didn't throw a pitch.
Right. Came inside, jammed him, got a dribbler foul. How do you do your scorecard there? You do K, frontwards K, and then backwards K for looking?
Looking, yeah.
Okay.
Maybe do upside down for not.
0-2 to Correa. And now in the dirt. One and two. Take there low, 2-2. Popped up, right side, short right. Suzuki makes the call and catch, 2 down, and that'll bring up Polanco.
I think the thing that is going to be tough for Correa is the scoreboard's looking at you every time you walk up to the plate. And even though he's been swinging it better in the last, especially the last few days, but even over the last 10 days, he's hit a few balls in the seats. He's had some extra base hits. He's had some doubles, a few games in a row. When you get off to a start like he's got off to, and you look up there and that number's, batting average isn't as important as it used to be to some guys, but when you look up there and that number's under 200, you could be having a good day. You could be 1 for 2 with a walk or 1 for 3, and you feel like every game you need to get 2 hits or 3 hits, and whatever you're doing isn't good enough because that number, the deeper you get into the season, the harder it is to make those numbers move in a positive direction. It's so hard mentally in this game not to let that play into each at bat.
Then when he has hit the ball hard like last night, he hit a smash into the mound that turned into a double play, and all the fans see and all they see in the box score the next day is a double play.
Yeah, GIDP.
Yeah, they don't see 108 off the bat or whatever it was. 1-1. Up high, 2-1.
Well, and then a couple nights ago, he had a hard hit double to left field, but the previous at bat lined out to right, and right fielder's playing shallow right. The scouting report got him on that one, and it's so hard mentally to just continue to reset every single at bat in a game where the results do matter. As much as you look at the metrics, and I'm still hitting the ball hard. The exit velocity is good. I'm making consistent contact, but the numbers do matter. And if you're a player who's been to All-Star games, you want to go to more All-Star games. You want to prove that you belong amongst the best in the game. And he's a guy that it takes pride in being one of the better players in the game of baseball. And the numbers obviously aren't satisfying him, but he's going to continue to work. But it's so hard not to get caught up in the results when the results matter and you're trying to produce.
2-2. And what's happened to the Twins in the month of May, there's been a whole bunch of hitters who kind of found themselves in the same spot. Buxton 0 for 25. Gallo had been struggling up until his 3-run home run today. Larnach was sent down because he was struggling at the plate.
But then sometimes all it takes is a spark. We've seen Kirilloff's at bats since he's come back. He's taken some patient at bats. He's been on base a ton. He's taken a lot of walks. Now 3 extra base hits today. Sometimes that rubs off on guys around you. You get that feeling of feeling locked in at the box, feeling good in the batter's box, and then you go, what's he doing so well? And all of a sudden, that positive, that energy, whatever it is, starts to rub off on the other guys and say, okay, we can count on this guy. He's swinging the bat well right now. He's got pretty squared up right there. Looks like he's all right, but yeah, you just kind of feed off of each other.
Polanco's 0 for 9. He jumped off the injured list, started hitting right away, and we thought, okay, that's the spark that the Twins need. But now he's going through it too.
Yeah, hitting is contagious, and contagiously good, sometimes contagiously bad. But you're always one good game away, one good swing away.
3-2. I thought Dusty Baker in an interview that I was not a part of, but he was quoted as saying about hitting slumps. He says it takes you as quickly as it takes you to get into them, it takes you twice as long to get out of them. Called straight back.
Well, it's so hard because a lot of times you ask a hitter when they're going good, what are you doing well? I'm seeing it. What are you thinking about? Nothing. Right? And they tell you, well, write down what you're thinking when you're going good so that you have it to go back to when you're struggling. But as I said, what are you thinking about? Nothing. It's a clear mind, and you're just letting your athleticism take over, which is hard to do sometimes.
Back again. Great at bat here. Polanco fighting against Wesneski.
But you sit there and you go, okay, something doesn't feel right. So then you start thinking about, when's my foot getting out? Is it a timing issue? Is it a mechanical issue? And you're not getting the results you want, so you start to. And the thing I figured out is the routine matters as much as anything. If you want to be consistent in the game, you have to be consistent in your routine.
A deep drive to right field. Another home run after a great at bat by Jorge Polanco.
Oh, what an at bat right there. He fouled off a ton of tough pitches. As we've seen so many times from Polanco, not afraid to take an awkward looking swing just to foul a pitch off to keep an at bat alive. Got himself a little slider. Hit it way up there on the plaza. Head down to contact. He knew it immediately. That is the best feeling you can have as a hitter. It almost feels like nothing. Just jumps off the bat. It's pure. You said people on the second deck weren't expecting a souvenir. Whoever was standing out there in the plaza probably wasn't expecting one either.
First 40 games, and it's been feast or famine for the Twins lineup, and they are feasting today with 4 home runs. Trip to the mound, but Wesneski will get a chance to complete 5 innings.
10th pitch of the at bat. Threw him everything he had. He kept fouling it off. Change-up sweeper, change-up sweeper. Mixed in a few fastballs, but Polanco had seen everything that he had. And finally got one that he liked. Middle down, hit it out of here.
And now Larnach looped a single to left his first time up. He takes strike 1. And now 2 strikes. Larnach had a big game the other night for St. Paul, got 3 hits. He can carry some of that success back to the big leagues with him. Just down and away. And earlier when we were talking about Twins spreading the RBIs around, not that there have been enough of them, but Buxton on the bench today with 19 to put him on a pace for around 80.
And the run scoring not quite what it was over the last few years. Driving in the hundreds, a good number now.
Take there to even the count.
And relating, I think, directly to the pitching and the matchups and the arms and the bullpen and the size of the strike zone. It's tough to be a hitter nowadays. Twins are having a good day today.
And now 3-2 with Gordon on deck. Tip, and Barnhart hangs on. Larnach strikes out, but the Twins go deep again. This time it was Jorge Polanco, a 2-run home run to make it 7-0.
Location has been good. Fastball's been good. You see right there, 6 of those 7 strikeouts coming on that fastball.
And there's strike 1. Ian Happ, the batter, singled his first time up. Bellinger and Suzuki. I was saddened to read yesterday about the passing of Don Denkinger, 32-year major league umpire. Waterloo, Iowa. Got to know Don a little bit over the years. Hit foul. Don Denkinger had a great career as an umpire, and unfortunately, even in his obituary, was remembered for a blown call in the 1985 World Series between the Cardinals and the Royals. Turned Game 6 and turns out the World Series around in Kansas City's favor. He's a pretty good umpire. This morning, talking with Jack Morris, Denkinger had the plate both for games 1 and 7 of the 1991 World Series. Swung out and missed. Another strikeout for Ryan. First out of the 6th inning. Bring up Cody Bellinger. But Jack confirmed what I'd always felt, having been at Game 7, but having rewatched it maybe 20 times. What Twins fans do during a long winter. And of course, it was a great pitching matchup. Probably the best baseball game I've ever seen, right? 256 pitches, I think, and every one could have determined the world championship, and Twins won it in 10 innings, 1-0. And Jack said Don Denkinger in that game probably had him 10 times in his career, but in Game 7, Don Denkinger, the home plate umpire, was nearly perfect. And he said he hasn't talked with John Smoltz, who was his mound opponent, another Hall of Famer, that day about it, but he'd be surprised if John didn't feel the same way. That's how good Don Denkinger was behind the plate on that wonderful night at the Metrodome. And it's just a shame that an umpire who was a good umpire is remembered for the one call he didn't make. You know, Jim Joyce, I thought, was a really good umpire, but he'll be remembered as the guy who, you know, called safe when the runner was out at the end of a perfect game bid.
It's amazing how it follows you, isn't it?
You mentioned Bill Buckner's name in baseball circles. Over 2,700 hits, but he'll be remembered for the ground ball that went between his legs in the '86 World Series. Another strikeout for Ryan. Bellinger striking out for the 2nd time. A word now from Health Partners.
For some of our patients, the goal is hoisting the trophy, but you just want to hoist your grandkids. At Trio Orthopedics, we'll treat that knee so you can be there to lift them up.
So this is a forgiving game. If you're a player or an umpire, we have the capacity to forgive, but have a difficult time forgetting.
Yeah, certain things just stand out in your mind. And you mentioned how good he was on the plate in that game. I mentioned Cleveland in the World Series and how big the strike zone was.
Right.
There's certain things just stand out in your mind, but
Ryan trying to finish the 6th inning here with a flourish. He struck out 3 batters in a row, and he's ahead of Suzuki 1 and 2. 6 shutout innings for Joe Ryan. An outstanding outing and a 7-0 Twins lead. As the season wears along, Rucker comes out of the Chicago bullpen. Now, it's not quite summertime yet because we've had rain on in my neighborhood over the last couple of days, but the night crawlers haven't come up yet. Usually like to harvest those as much as I can when they do pop up at night, and going to get some free bait. Ryan 6 shutout innings, and hey, Sonny Gray gave up a run yesterday, right? But that's it. And now Ryan comes back with 6 shutout innings.
rotation has just been so good, so consistent the entire year.
I'll be curious as the season wears along, because we know Tyler Mahle's going to be out for the year, and there's no sketchy timetable for Kenta Maeda and his return. So it's the 3 fixtures: Lopez, Gray, and Ryan. And then Bailey Ober's been outstanding. Louis Varland's been good. But I would imagine if it's those 5 guys for a while, we'll still see somebody come up from St. Paul, maybe Simeon Woods Richardson, to give those 5 an extra day. Maybe someone will get skipped, trying to protect the asset that they have, which is right now a really good starting 5.
Yeah, it's a hard thing. I think sometimes you just look at the schedule.
Gordon strikes out.
But every team goes through a stretch where you play 19 in a row, or you have played 28 out of 29 days. Look for spots where you can protect your guys a little bit. But Joe Ryan, a lot of experience as well, a lot of innings under their belt, and guys are built up. I'm not sure how you convince those guys when they're throwing so well that, hey, we're going to give you a little break here. Don't disrupt my rhythm.
Right.
So, but I see your point. I mean, you're going to try and protect him as much as you can because it has been so good.
Yeah, try the right side of the field. Farmers had 2 line drives caught on the pole side. So now just a sharp ground ball for a base hit here in the 6th.
Also found the barrel a little bit more on this one, 103 off the bat. The other ones were in the low 90s. And he said, you're right, there's nobody standing there.
Even though the team has struggled to score runs, I mean, a year ago the Twins were in first place, and so fans, broadcasters alike, all thinking, okay, now if we take this into the postseason, what do we have? And I think everyone, if they were perfectly honest, would have said we're going to have to improve the pitching staff, even though they were in first place at the time, 1 but not 2. Castro will reach on a fielder's choice. But this feels different to me. This team's in first place and they haven't really hit well. But you look at what you need to succeed in the postseason, and it's really good starting pitching, and the Twins are getting that on a nightly basis.
And just depth, but also high end. And I think what we've seen, especially from the top 3 guys in the rotation, we've seen that in the past. Washington did it, won a World Series with 3+ starters, and then another one they moved to the bullpen and got a lot of innings out there. And you have to have that, but then you can shorten that rotation as you get to the postseason with all the built-in days off. But you have to have someone who's our 1 that matches up with their 1. But then it's also after that is, how do we match their 2 with our 2? And
for the hole and through. Jeffers has reached all 3 times, and the lineup will turn over for Gallo, and alertly scampering to third base, Castro is now 90 feet away.
A little element of surprise right there. You can take these chances when you got a 7-0 lead or a 7-run lead. Just a little cutter that kind of spun up there. Jeffers walked the first time up, got hit his last time up, so you know he wanted to go up there and hit something hard. An effort by Swanson gets past him.
Here's Gallo with 2 men aboard again. He came up in the 3rd in this situation with nobody out at that time, and he absolutely crushed one. And tried to do it again. Strike 1. One strike. Two strikes. Popped up, it'll reach the seats.
We were talking about, nice to see a lot of fans here, even though there is a lot of Cubby blue in the seats, but good crowd. Weather didn't hold them away today.
And Gallo strikes out, and that'll wrap up the 6th inning. The Twins leave 2 aboard, but still lead 7-0. Cubs had some chances, a leadoff double, and a couple of base hits starting the next inning, and here's how he got them out today.
Well, much like we're typical Joe Ryan fashion right there. Four-seam fastballs up. Splitter, sweepers down, and just did a nice job of going out there and making pitch every time he needed to, it seemed like. Didn't give up really much hard contact at all. A couple of fly balls, but typically his outs are through the air. And just sets you up, give you a chance. It didn't put any pressure on the offense. Even though there was trouble, the boys came out swinging the bats, hit some balls in the seats. Just another tremendous starting pitcher performance.
Giovanni Moran threw strikes last night and threw only 9 pitches and got 2/3 of an inning to finish the 6th inning that Sonny Gray started. Getting ahead of Morel, 1 strike. Sharp liner to left and a base hit. And that'll bring up Mervis. Moran, the only lefty in the Twins' pen, and I asked today whether things were on track for Caleb Thielbar to return in a little more than a week when his 15 days are up, and was told they don't have any timetables for the return of players that far out. But I know Caleb will be welcome whenever he returns. Got so many left-handed batters like the Padres have. You got 4 lefties and a switch hitter in today's Chicago lineup. It's nice to have another option, especially one as reliable as Caleb has been against lefties.
Yeah, you get down here, you got lefties up. Doesn't look like they're going to pitch hit for him. It's always tough with Moran, though, with the best secondary pitch being that changeup.
Missing inside 2-1.
Griffin Jackson's numbers are great off lefty. Jorge Lopez's numbers are great versus lefties. So you have options down there of right-handed pitchers to get left-handed hitters out, but you're right. The look that Thielbar gives you from the left side, different breaking balls, being able to throw that slow curveball in there, mix in the slider. But that also means it's going to be opportunity for Giovanni, and he's going to get some of those matchups that Caleb was getting, because you can't depend on night after night of Griffin Jacks having to come in, or you have to get contributions from everyone.
2-2 and a strikeout. A left-on-left changeup.
And that's that changeup. He can throw it to lefties. I'm not saying that it's only effective against right-handed hitters, but just got to get yourself in the right spot, speed him up a little bit, and then pull the string on him.
There's Hosmer, another left-handed batter. And Morel, the righty, he got the single, and then the bottom third of the Cub lineup has Mervis, Hosmer, Barnhart, all left-handed hitters. 1-0.
So I like to look at it this way. You know, you in a good year you win 90. We'll call it 90 ball games. And a durable reliever will give you somewhere in the 60 appearance range, right? Somebody's got to get the outs in those other 30 wins. Now, some of them are going to be blowouts, and some of them the starters are going to pitch deep, and you're going to use maybe 1 or 2 relievers. But for the most part, you got to find a way, and guys are going to go on the injured list. You're going to be missing pieces, and no team's really going to have 5 relievers down there give you 60+ appearances. That rarely ever happens. So you're going to have guys step into roles and grow into roles that maybe they weren't expected to pitch in the beginning of the year.
Strike called, 2-2. And we've seen 93 there, the pitch before 94. He's not a big man, 6'1", 199. But if he can just stay in the strike zone, certainly be a big asset to this Twins pen. Flipped foul out of play.
Slider right there. It's just, you need to have finds, obviously. I think Brock Stewart's been a great find, if you want to call him that. And looks like he's got a plus arm down there at the end of the bullpen, a guy who you can trust. And that was kind of what Rocco was saying, you know, the long reliever spot. And do you need someone when the starters are pitching so deep? You say, well, you only have so many guys that you trust to bring in with a lead that you can pitch for 1 inning and know that they're going to go out there, high pressure situation, middle of the order. How many of those guys do you have on your big league roster, let alone being able to call up for the minor leagues? And I think you end up finding out what you're made of sometimes out of necessity of whether you're the only lefty down there in the pen or different situations.
Missing inside now, 3-2 with Barnhart on deck. And if you're Moran, you're just going, okay, my job is to get through the 7th inning here. With all the left-handed batters, I just need, hopefully not walk anybody, just get through the 7th and keep this 7-0. And then he walks Hosmer, and now there are runners at first and second with 1 down. Friday home games, you can enjoy the all-you-can-eat package, which includes a grandstand ticket and unlimited access to ballpark favorites. You can visit twins.com/AYCE. Glenn Perkins here along with Justin Morneau. Dick Bramer with the Twins in front 7-0. And Barnhart 1 for 2 on the afternoon. It's pretty soon going to become an evening. That's flipped to left and down for a hit. I'm going to send the runner. Here's the throw from Castro, and the Cubs are on the board. It's 7-1, and Moran has faced now 4 men and retired just 1. Back to the top of the order, and Madrigal.
We saw this in last night's ball game. Their approach, trying to use the entire field, flipping the ball the other way. Left on left. Barnhart goes out there and does exactly what they had success with last night. Good throw, maybe a little aggressive send, but Morel's got above average speed. He's able to get around the bases in a hurry.
Cubs have had the leadoff man on 4 times in 7 innings, and they finally get that leadoff man to come around and score. Buying some time here for Emilio Pagan to start to get loose. And we'll get a quick message from the Mall of America. Moran will face a right-hander here, and then another one in Dansby Swanson. But in reality, if Madrigal reaches here, Moran's night might be done. Missing low. Ball 1. There's a strike. 1-1. Two and 1. Need to get it out here. You don't want to perk up the Cub bench or the crowd for that matter. 2-2. Plenty of Cub fans here. And the Twins have just kind of had things under control up to this point. No harm in giving up a run, but you don't want a crooked number up there.
This is interesting, you know, the numbers play into where you play, and with the Madrigal out there, a guy who goes to the opposite field, Correa playing straight up shortstop. He pulled the ball through. You got a changeup guy on the mound.
Oh,
let's see, that's his approach. Fastball middle to the opposite field, so Correa is shaded almost where we've seen him play some left-handed hitters. Kind of watching him, so that pitch comm, he doesn't have to worry about what sequence they're using. He knows what they're doing. So as he's coming in to take the pitch, He's taking a little shuffle to his right as he hears changeup, so he's anticipating maybe pulling a ball through the hole.
Got a swing and a miss for strike 3. I was stunned to see the Twins with a 6-run lead, and Nick Gordon in center playing so shallow. They were almost playing 3 across. With Madrigal up there, Moran gets the strikeout, and now Dansby Swanson, and Gordon will play a little deeper in center field.
Play a little, and you see Correa now swing over where you see him play most right-handed hitters. They got him to pull alignment for a righty.
Strike is called.
But for a guy whose best pitch is his changeup, a lot of right-handed hitters. If they're going to get there, they're going to get out front. If they're looking fastball, it's going to be.
And Emil Jimenez hearing it from somebody in the Cub dugout. We'll just say it's David Ross because it probably is. And now a pitch clock violation has been called, I believe.
Don't understand how that's possible if the umpire's in the middle of arguing with the dugout. How the.
Maybe it was just a timeout.
I think maybe a reset of the clock.
Grounder towards short. Correa digs it out. 1 for the Cubs, and that's it. Moran recovers after a wobbly inning. Couple of hits and a walk, just 1 run, and it's 7-1. I did a couple of games ago. Nice job, partner. That was awesome.
Little glove saving a beauty right there.
That's right. That's right.
Not as good as his day, though.
So Kirilloff will get a chance. No, he won't. He's been taken out of the game. It's going to be Solano who will hit here with Hughes, the lone lefty, coming into the ball game for the Cubs, and it'll be Solano hitting for Kirilloff. See, it doesn't hurt, does it?
Not with a t-shirt. That's a foul ball. You know I'm diving out of the way.
So Kirilloff will exit the game with 10 total bases, and Solano will lead things off in the 7th instead against the lefty. Now, if you would have said at the start of this homestand, what are the chances that TC would A, fire 2 t-shirts into this booth, be accurate enough with that thing? I mean, it's not like he's got a scope on it, right? He just kind of points it at the booth, that he'd be able to get 2 of them in here. And I would catch one and you would catch another.
Like I think I've been doing this for 5 years now. Every time I work and he gets to the end of the dugout, he looks up here. I flag him down. He tries to shoot it up here.
There's a drive hit well to left field. But there for the catch is Happ, 1 away.
You're right.
And that'll bring up Correa. Correa's average down to 188. A year ago, he was on the injured list. He got off to a slow start last year, too, and was showing signs of snapping out of it. Then he got hit by a pitch and had to spend some time on the injured list. You may remember that's when the Twins called up Royce Lewis, and Lewis stepped in looking like he was ready to go to the All-Star game. And then Correa came back and started hitting, picked up right where he left off, and then Lewis ended up playing some out in the outfield, got hurt again. Mastrobuoni is the shortstop for the Cubs. 2-0 to Correa, and a foul to make it 2-1.
Yeah, Lewis getting back into action, playing Double-A. Some at bats. Good to see him back on the field. You think we're going to have another Dan Hayes error right there in the press box?
Sure looked like it. Two and 2 to Correa. Drive left center field and deep. Back and gone. Correa joins the home run party. 5 for the Twins this afternoon at Target Field.
He's been finding the barrel a little bit more often. He's been doing a little more damage on the pull side with some extra base hits, turning on some balls. It's got to be a good feeling for him to see this settle into a Cubs fan's hat out there with a nice play at the end, or a nice catch at the end of this play. If you're Wrigley and you don't throw this back, you're getting booed out of the stadium, but there it is.
A cap catch for Correa, his 6th of the year. 19 runs batted in. And now Polanco hitting as a right-handed batter.
I said it's so hard, but he's been around long enough. It's so hard to not get caught up in chasing the numbers and trying to turn your season around and just focus at bat to at bat. But he understands what it means. Good or bad, the last at bats don't matter. The only one that matters is the next one. But when you're in the middle of it and you're trying to find your way out, and those numbers a little more respectable to where you want to see them, it can be difficult.
Hot ground ball. Nice pickup by Madrigal. High throw, and Polanco is out. Tagged by Mervis as he went by. And you see those, and you're just glad nobody got hurt, apparently.
Well, good effort by Polanco coming down the line. Looks like they took a look at it, but they're not going to challenge it. Nice athleticism on the end by Mervis. Jump tag right there, and you got to spin, you got to give, so you don't get that arm locked out and end up with an injury. And it'll be another pinch hitter coming up at Taylor.
Hitting for Larnach, who went 1 for 3 in his return to the lineup.
This means Taylor will probably go into center field and shift Gordon over.
Twins need 1 more home run. I mean, this is a walleye opener, right? The limit for walleyes is 6.
I like it.
And I say that because I read the regulations. I don't want to give you or our viewers the idea that I regularly catch
6 walleyes.
6 walleyes, but that is the limit. 1-1. 1-2. Just off the outside edge. High fly center field. Bellinger ends the 7th inning. The Twins get in the bottom of the 7th what the Cubs got in the top. 1 run.
Now,
okay. If you ever see, if someone says, hey, why don't you come over, we're going to have a sauger fry, take them up on it, because they're wonderful to eat.
all right.
Here's Cole Sands, was called up today. Derek Rodriguez was sent down. Ian Happ will lead things off. I don't know how perceptible it is, and we'll watch him pitch for a while, but as I walked in this morning with Cole and asked the usual play-by-play guy's question, what did you work on in St. Paul? He said he's trying to elevate his arm slot. And basically hoping that he might get a more life on his pitches by throwing less low 3/4 and pitching from a higher arm slot. And I think he understood too. He was talking with somebody who doesn't fully comprehend what that might mean to pitches. And so we have Glenn Perkins here. And so as
Thankfully.
So what's the idea, Glenn, between elevating your arm slot in the hopes of getting more life on your pitches?
Well, I think this is actually a good conversation. Justin and I talked about it early. He was asking me about kind of spin efficiency in that. So getting a little bit more behind the ball as opposed to on the side of it. He's probably going to look to get a little bit more of that vertical break, that carry on his fastball. He's a guy that has good carry, even though the ball sinks a little bit. But I would think just trying to get behind it a little bit, get a little bit more of that spin, working toward having that ball travel toward home plate at a better rate would be, I think, what he was getting at, trying to get that arm up a little bit more. It's going to be almost imperceptible on TV, and really, unless you have the data and you're hooked up, whether it's on the field or in the bullpen, you're not really going to know.
Gordon's in left, chasing it, and has no play.
So how difficult of an adjustment is that to make then in the middle of a season where you're trying to adjust your release point, still have a good feel, and then at the same time get the results you want to get yourself back up to the big leagues?
Well, that's the battle, right? And I think if the Twins, and I'm assuming that they gave him a plan when he went down of what they wanted him to do to try to work on that. It's not something that you can do overnight. I would imagine it's going to be a season-long process. And yeah, it can be even more difficult when you're either down there trying to work on it and put up numbers to get back here, or when you're up here and trying to stay. Ideally, those things don't happen during the season, but good athletes, good pitchers, I think can make that adjustment, throughout the season. And so, like I said, it's just a matter of continuing to go out there, continuing to work on it, whether that's playing catch in the outfield or throwing in the bullpen, or now when he's out here on the mound.
Full count to Happ, first man he's facing here in the 8th inning. Well, did you ever try to do that?
I never tried to change an arm angle. I never had to do that. The one thing that I did over the All-Star break, I think it would have been 2009 over the All-Star break, I started throwing a slider. I went in and they had said before the break, hey, you need to throw a slider instead of a curveball. It's got too much of a hump in it. I went in during the break, threw one bullpen to Nate Damon at the time, and then made the first start out of the All-Star break against the Rangers throwing a slider. So that was definitely just kick off the training wheels and go. It took me a long time to get the hang of that. I think this is probably an easier adjustment than throwing a whole new pitch, though.
1-0. Ooh, rolling on a foul.
So for me, anytime you're thinking about mechanics when you're trying to hit, it's very difficult to hit. If you're thinking about where your hands are, what your foot's doing, if you make some adjustment, is it as difficult, do you think, for a pitcher? Okay, I'm trying to get on top here. You're in control. You're not reactive. You're the one, in control of the situation.
Popped up left side. One away.
I think anytime you're trying to make adjustments, and so for you it would be, hey, I'm going to work on this in the batting cage. When I go out to the game, yeah, maybe you can think about it a little bit, but really you just have to let your natural athletic ability take over. I think it's the same thing for a pitcher. Those are the kind of things you'll definitely work on in the bullpen. You'll be hooked up to TrackMan, Rapsodo, whatever they're using. And then in the game, you got to just pitch, maybe look at the numbers after and see if they're at where you want them to be. And if not, continue to try to refine off the game mound. But you just have to be able to go out there and pitch. You have to be able to just go out there and hit. The more you're thinking about, the less success you're going to have, whether it's on the mound or in the batter's box.
2-0. And that's where I think, Glenn, the technology that is available now for players, in this case a pitcher, would really come in handy, because in the case of Cole Sands, he wants to change one thing out of a series of things that are part of his pitching mechanics, and it would be hard, I would think, to just change the one thing and keep everything else the same.
Yeah, and I mean, the benefit of having the data and the analytic stuff that they have down in the bullpen, feedback that they can get, is you can make adjustments a lot faster. It's just a matter of taking that out on the field and the muscle memory and the feel that you want to have, being able to translate that from the bullpen onto the game mound.
A 3-0 strike.
Well, it's funny. I know obviously it's different at this level, but kids, I think people get caught up, especially Little League and everywhere else, in results. And to me, the game is just a test to see what you've learned in practice. And for him, it's okay. I've worked on this stuff in the bullpen, and if he's thinking about it while he's trying to hold a runner and he's trying to pitch to the scouting report, and he's trying to listen to the pitch comment, he's trying to do all these things, and all of a sudden if he's thinking about where his hand's at when he's releasing the ball, it's very hard to just kind of let it flow. And I think you're right, you have to try and put it out of your mind, but at the same time, if they're saying this is what you need to do to be successful, it takes a tremendous amount of focus and concentration to block that out while you're on the mound, of saying I wasn't doing this well enough, this is what's going to make me successful. but now don't think about it.
Yeah, and when you try to guide it, when you try to guide that ball to home plate, it's not going to end up where you want it to go. And Cole Sands, a guy that's got good command, so I think here a little bit of erratic, a little wild. Yeah, maybe it's a matter of just needing to take a step back, trying to slow the game down, and just execute your pitch versus trying to do this little thing here. Or I got to let go of the ball there. That can be really, really difficult in competition.
Trip to the mound. Sands struggling to throw strikes. It's a swing and a miss there. 17 pitches, 8 strikes. Morel with a sharp single to left, and he's scored the only Cub run so far back in the 7th inning. Strike 2 is called. Breaking ball locked him up, and on 3 pitches he gets out number 2.
A good meeting right there. Nice little bounce back. Oh, that's a sharp bite to it.
And now Mervis. Just missed outside. Foul back, 1-1. Two and 1. Yeah, Michael A. Taylor out there in center with Gordon moving to left. And Willie Castro looks to be in right field. 3-1. Walk, 3rd of the inning. The bases now are loaded, and a little tension in the dugout. The Twins are kind of in the 8th inning where they were in the 7th when Moran had a tough time throwing strikes. Ended up getting the 3 outs with just the 1 run allowed. Hosmer, a veteran who in his career has shown some pop, is now in a chance to get the Cubs right back into the game with 1 swing. This is interesting. From here, it looks like Sands is saying more to Pete Mackey than the other way around.
I wonder if that's just more of a what do you want to throw here? What do you feel comfortable getting over the plate? Or maybe one day we'll have that mic'd up. I'm not sure. All of it is usually safe to put on TV, but
Hosmer 0 for 2 with a walk. And Sands misses 1-0. 25 pitches, only 11 strikes.
see, Hosmer's been around long enough now. He knows that how much he's struggling. This is either a take or it's just 1 pitch, 1 spot that I can hit out of the ballpark. And a veteran hitter, less experienced pitcher on the mound. He was taken all the way.
Caught the corner, called a strike. Deep to right with some hook, and it's 2-2. getting loose. Popped up. It'll reach the seats the other way. Just starting to get limber. Got him looking. And Cole Sands dances into and out of the fire, and Hosmer has been ejected. And I'm not so sure David Ross won't be right behind him. There he goes.
Sure, if you ask David Ross about it after the game, he'll say, well, that one at bat wasn't what cost us the game, or the strike zone wasn't what cost us the game, but sometimes you get caught up in the heat of the moment.
And then crew chief Brian O'Nora had to come over and try to expedite Ross's departure from the field. Every run that the Twins have put on the board here today has come on a home run. Gordon's 0 for 3, and he takes strike 1. 5 home runs hit for the Twins. And last night they had just 4 hits. Brad Boxberger, veteran right-handed reliever, coming in. Gordon tried to fill out the Twins' limit. 2 strikes. It'll be Farmer and then Castro. And maybe a few more in the bottom of the 8th. And more chirping from the Cub dugout. Andy Green, we think, is the acting manager. Flip to center, playable for Bellinger. 1 down.
This copyright telecast is presented by authority of the Minnesota Twins and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of Minnesota Twins, LLC.
And we had an off day yesterday because it was on another network. And I know when you played, if you had a bad game, you couldn't wait to get back out there again the next day.
Redeemer on the disclaimer.
Frankly, on Thursday, it was not a good read or recitation of the disclaimer, and had to feel good to get that out of your system.
You know, I would love to just tape that thing once. And
you know what we used to do back in the day, and this is a long time ago, this is like 40 years ago, we had the players read the disclaimer.
I'm all in for that.
And Kyle Farmer has other things on his mind right now. With 2 strikes, he's taking a timeout, but we recorded them. And then, you know, randomly, we had Herbeck do it, Gaetti do it, Viola. Houston Jimenez did it, and he did it in Spanish. But so few people were watching back then, I don't think anyone noticed.
Well, probably got that in the archives somewhere, don't we?
I don't think there are any archives. I think I paid off whoever had the archives and purchased and destroyed all the tapes.
Just so that you could hear me do that?
Just so no one could hear me in the early years of my career. 2-2 to Farmer. A walk to Farmer, and since I brought it up, let me publicly offer my congratulations to my first broadcast partner back in 1983. He's the radio voice and has been for 27 years for the Chicago Cubs, Pat Hughes. Pat and I broke in. He's sitting in the lower left there, working with former Twin broadcaster Ron Coomer. And Pat Hughes is going to be given the Ford Frick Award winner or award in Cooperstown this summer. He spent 1 year with the Twins, 1983, and then 12 years working alongside Bob Uecker with the Brewers, and this is his 27th year with the Cubs. So well-deserved honor for a guy who shared the booth with me way back in 1983.
Congratulations to him. Quite an honor. Take part in the festivities out there.
1-1. And Castro swings through strike 2.
Begin with Scott Rowland, correct?
As the player, right?
Yep.
Right. And Fred McGriff also going in this summer.
All right, crime dog with the helicopter.
Is that where you got it from? The follow through?
I mean, I imitated all the old Blue Jays back in the day in my
Did you?
backyard.
Inside now 2-2. I guess I'd never thought about that. That maybe your follow through, which was unique, was very similar to Fred McGriff's.
Good to see him get in. Yeah, mine was out of necessity. I had a bad elbow, needed surgery, just couldn't straighten my arm.
There's a all third strike, and Castro is out number 2. And that'll bring up Jeffers. Jeffers has reached all 3 times. He walked and scored in the 3rd, hit by a pitch, caught stealing in the 4th, and then singled in the 6th. Now that's not polite to laugh. How else would you have scored that? What happened?
It was more the surprise tone in your voice. Well, he was trying to take advantage. Figured shot clock's winding down. Why not go off? He's going to the home. And
he didn't go home.
Got about halfway to second and got caught out there, so it doesn't go down as a caught stealing. Well, when you have the lead, you can run the bases a little bit more aggressively, take some more chances. We saw first to third with 2 outs, but on a ball to left field by Castro earlier. So why not?
Hook foul. But it cost him another bat. We've seen that a lot, haven't we? And I don't know what it means, but he hit a ball yesterday, might have cracked his bat 2 days ago. The one that almost cleared the wall. I thought it was a home run when he hit it, but it just kind of died out there, and must have hit it right off the end a little bit. But he barreled the one in the 3rd inning, a 3-run home run that broke the game open. One and one.
You wonder if it's the swing adjustments he's made or changing bats, but going, he kind of spread out his lower half a little bit, got him into his legs a little more. Maybe now he's got a little more time and is a little quicker rotating.
Hit hard to the right field corner, and that'll stay fair. It'll drive in at least 1, and Gallo has another extra base hit with a double into the right field corner. The Twins now lead 9-1.
Well, a good sign. Top 3 spots in the batting order, especially the top 2. 5 extra base hits. Joey Gallo looked like he's breaking out of it a little bit, but it was a nice job. Head down at contact, and he's thinking 2 out of the box immediately. And this ball kicks back a little bit. If he throws it to second, you might send Jeffers home.
Ball 1.
You said it. He's a guy that he'll go through his stretches where he'll strike out, but then he'll go through those stretches like we saw earlier in the year, like we're seeing now. When he gets the bat to it, he squares it up, and that ball just jumps. Hard hit percentage leads the league. He's a guy. He finds that barrel. He's strong. That ball, that launch angle. He's able to elevate the ball.
Solano's second at bat as a designated hitter. Kirilloff with 2 home runs and a double, and Solano hit a liner to left his first time up. Two and one. 2-2. 3-2. Twins offense pretty much stuck in neutral in the month of May, but a good game here with 9 runs on the board, a dozen hits, 5 home runs. Three doubles.
But it all, to me, goes back to the starting pitching. They give you a chance to relax and go up there and have good at-bats.
Well, clearly you know better than I, but if Ryan doesn't pitch around the leadoff double in the second, third inning starts with a pair of hits. If they both come around and score, I would imagine, I think all of us can imagine, it's a little bit harder to relax up there when you're behind 3-1.
Yeah, and when you've been losing a lot of close games, when you've been having trouble scoring runs, you score 2, and when you're losing games 3-2, you're finding you're not having success with runners in scoring position. You're squeezing the bat a little tight, you're putting pressure on, and all of a sudden you play with the lead. It's just a different feeling. You don't feel like you're forcing the action. You don't have to get back in it. You kind of let the game come to you a little bit more, and you've done a good job of that today. But like I said, it's the starting pitching game after game that's given them an opportunity to find a way to relax and go up there and just put together good at-bats and just wait for the bats of the big boys to come alive. And we saw Correa go deep in this game earlier. Opportunity with runners in scoring position for him.
Let me clean up a little old business, by the way. Solano has walked, hitting for Kirilloff, who had 10 total bases. 1 strike to Correa. The Twins record for total bases in one game, Twins fans will remember the game. Kirby Puckett with 14 that magical weekend in Milwaukee when he went 10 for 11 and 6 for 6 on a Sunday afternoon, including a couple of home runs. Fouled away. That's a lot of total bases on hits in one game. 2 home runs, 2 doubles, and 2 singles.
Well, his numbers up on the wall, and he's in the Hall of Fame.
1-2 to Correa. Bases loaded, and the ball chopped foul. Now, you've been saying, and I've heard others say it too, that one game can just loosen the collar for everybody. Twins are hoping this is that game. They got to run into Marcus Stroman tomorrow, and he's been pretty good. He's been for the Cubs what Joe Ryan's been for the Twins. That hits the bag. 1 run will score, another one trying to score, and the ball is overthrown. And everybody will move up, but Correa will get a single, driving in 2 more. And on a day when they don't need some good luck, they just got some.
He'll take every one. And he'll tell you there's about 20 more of those before it evens out. But said again, on the pull side, just getting the barrel to it. I think Gallo maybe thought this ball got to the outfield, just kept going. A good throw maybe has him, but
I don't know that Madrigal was going to be able to flag that down anyway. An error charged on the play.
A little throwing error.
Error on the catcher. Or on Swanson. Or the throw. Good. Yeah, I'd hate to have.
So it would be 2 RBIs on the play.
Still 2 RBIs. And the extra bases to third and to second because of the error. So 3 on the board here in the 8th inning that the Twins surely hope they won't need. And a familiar name and face out there in the bullpen is going to come in next. Michael Fulmer. The Twins separating themselves from the Cubs even further in the 8th. The Chicago Cubs.
Yeah, one of those guys that made a positive impression. Thought he might be back. Found an opportunity with the Cubs, and ERA a little bit high with the rest of the numbers falling in line.
Hits are okay. 16 and 16 and a third. 6 walks. A couple of home runs that I'm guessing came with men on base. Here's Polanco. 2-run home run back in the 5th. You think of how the season ended for the Twins, but how aggressive they were in trying to patch those holes. Tyler Mahle coming over from the Reds. Jorge Lopez coming from the Orioles. Fulmer from the Tigers.
They went after it and tried to supplement the roster and made some moves. Just too many injuries all added up.
And I'll say this again just because the number is astounding. Last year, Fulmer was one of 38 pitchers the Twins used at the start of the year. You only have a 40-man roster. A 40-man roster for that matter at the end of the year, but tapped up the line. So nearly a full 40-man roster worth of pitchers over the course of the year. It's just amazing.
Yeah, it is incredible. And maybe incredible not in a good way. But a little better health this year, a little consistency.
Swung on and missed, and Fulmer cleans up the 8th inning. Twins get 3 in the inning that they hope they won't need. Good.
He hit a 3-run homer. Alex Kirilloff went back to back. That made it 5-0. Jorge Polanco went to right. That was 7-0. Nice catch off of Alex Kirilloff. Carlos Correa's home run, all in support of Joe Ryan, who was fantastic today. 6 shutout innings for him. 10 strikeouts. He joins Spencer Strider, Kevin Gausman, and Zach Gallen as guys that have 3 10-strikeout games this year. A couple guys we talked about early in the game with those fastball whiffs. And it's 11-1 as we head to the 9th, guys.
Thank you, sir. Sands out there again. Barnhart, the first batter he'll face. Strike 1 and now strike 2. I will try over the course of this half inning as rapidly as I can to give you just the last names of the 38 pitchers the Twins had pitched for them last year, and granted a couple of them are position players. Okay, see how many of these names you remember. Alcala, Archer, Bundy, Cano, Cotton, Coulomb, Davis, Duffy, Duran, Fulmer, Gonzalez, Gordon, Gray, Hamilton, Henriquez, Jax, Lopez, Mahle, McGill, Minaya, Moran, Ober, Paddock, Pagan, Palacios, Rodriguez, Romero, Ryan, Sanchez, Sands, Smeltzer, Smith, Stashak, Thielbar, Thornburg, Varland, Winder, Woods Richardson.
Can you do that again? I missed one.
Isn't that incredible?
Yeah, that'll sum up kind of how the year ended. It was a battle, and first place a lot of the year, but I don't know if there's any team that can sustain or deal with that many injuries or replacements being needed.
And there's a walk starting the 9th inning. 4th walk issued by Sand. And I don't want to insult the player, so I won't say which ones, but there are a couple of them that I just read, and I honestly do not remember them pitching last year.
It was a rough year.
Leadoff walk in the 9th, and that's how Sands' 8th inning started. Chopper towards short. 1. It's Castro at short, by the way, and they get the lead runner. So 1 down, 1 on.
That's the kind of at-bat that'll drive you crazy as a manager or as a hitting coach. Guys walked 4 in his 1+ inning, and then you go up there and top the first pitch.
Mastrobuoni hitting.
I get it. It's hard to focus in an 11-1 game, but kind of year that those at-bats right there that add up at the end can turn a 250 year into a 270 year or a 250 year into a 220 year.
Ball one, ball two. So the Twins are lined up. Strike called. It's been an interesting afternoon for Emil Jimenez. Caught a lot of heat from the Cub dugout. That pitch looked like it was up and or away. 2-1. Skied. Short left. Gordon with the catch. And that's out number 2. And that'll bring up Ian Happ. Got a 1 o'clock game tomorrow. Pre-game at 12:30. We're pretty confident everything will be on time tomorrow, and the Twins will try to continue the pattern that put them in first place in the first place. Just win series, particularly at home. Only lost 1 series here at Target Field. Tigers lost this afternoon. Angels are ahead of Cleveland. The Twins started the day with a 3-game lead over Detroit. 1 out away from making that 4, and depending on what happens with the Guardians, Twins might gain some of that separation they're looking for in the American League Central standings. 1-1 to Happ. And now 2-2. Sands trying to wrap things up with his 47th pitch. Breaking ball down and in. And Happ takes a timeout. Runner goes, no one cares, and it's a walk. 5 walks issued by Cole Sands. And Bellinger will come to the plate.
Just a frustrating feeling, I'm sure. You hear the frustration from the fans, but the last thing he knows he could be doing in this situation is walking guys. And I think, much like we talk about the hitters, trying harder, and it has that reverse effect. It's like he's out there going, I just want to throw it over. I just need to throw strikes, and get caught up in the results instead of pick that spot, hit that spot, and just go after it. And it's frustrating for him, and more frustrating for him than it is for anyone who's at home watching.
Strike percentage of 45, which, especially in the heels of Joe Ryan's 6 innings when he threw, what today, 74-75% strikes.
But it's hard to compare a rough outing against one of the best
I know
starters in the American League. It's setting the bar pretty high, but yes, he knows he needs to be better.
Strike is called, and it's 1-2 with Jeffers bluffing a throw to second base. It'll reach the seats. Twins took 2 out of 3 from the Padres. Now the Cubs, another National League team. The Dodgers up next on the road. And the Twins play the Angels, and another National League team in the next homestand. The Giants come to town. Checked his swing. Nope. 2-2. Twins fans hoping that this is the last pitch of what has been a good game. 3-2. If Bellinger reaches, Suzuki will hit. No activity in the Twins pen. 10-run lead. Sands, regardless of how ugly the numbers might get, he's going to be asked to finish this off. Driven to right. And that's the end of it. Sands gives up 5 walks, but no runs. And after a frustrating loss last night, the Twins respond with a very gratifying win and maybe a glimpse of things to come.
Yeah, real good sign. Bats breaking out. Another strong starting pitcher performance. All around a good win and a chance to win the series tomorrow. Head out on the road. Tough road trip to face some good teams. Feeling good.
A lot to cover on the Twins Live postgame show coming up next.